Hello and welcome to week 48 of the FrankenScrap Crochet Along. And this week we're making the nest stitch. Now I've left the most challenging stitch till last, and this one takes a bit of doing, but it's a really stunning stitch and well worth the effort. So to make this piece you're going to need a foundation chain of 82. So to start your nest stitch we're going to be making a single crochet in the third chain from your hook. So the first chain from your hook I've marked because the turning chain counts as your first single crochet of the row. So I'm going to make a single crochet in the third chain, and then I'm going to make a single crochet in each chain across. So this gives us a nice solid base to start our nest stitch. So this stitch is based on the crocodile stitch and just adds an extra puff in between that nests into that stitch. So if you're familiar with the crocodile, then this will be an easy enough adjustment, but it can be a challenging stitch. Okay. So I'll just finish the single crochet for row 1. And then we will start setting up for our nest stitches. Okay, so once you finish row 1, turn and chain 1. And we're going to make a double crochet turning chain in the first stitch, which I'm just going to pop a stitch marker into. Let's grab some more yarn. Okay, so in the next 2 stitches I'm going to make a half double crochet in each of them. 1 and 2, and then chain 1. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch I'm going to make 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Then chain 2. Skip the next 2 stitches and make 2 half double crochet again. So the repeat is 2 double crochet in the same stitch, chain 2, skip 2, and you're going to do that until you have 2 stitches left. Sorry, 4 stitches left. Skip 2 stitches, try to count and speak at the same time. So we carry on the repeat until you have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Another 2. And make another 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, so when you have 4 stitches left, so I've done my 2 double crochet there, 4 stitches left, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the next stitch and then make a half double crochet in the last 3 stitches. So that turning chain, although it was at the beginning of the row, although it was a double crochet turning chain, I'm using it as a half double crochet. I just didn't want to do a half double crochet turning chain because it can be a little bit small than we want. Okay, so that is row 2. So row 3 we're going to make the crocodile stitches. So we're going to turn and chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. And then we're going to make a single crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. Okay, so now we're going to skip to our double crochet post, and we're going to be working around each post to make the crocodile stitch. So we're going to make 5 double crochet around the first post, and then we're going to move to the other side and make 5 double crochet around this post. Okay, so around the hook. It helps if you kind of turn your work sideways So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 around the first post. I'm going to yarn over, turn my work around so now I've got the next post facing me, and just go straight to making another double crochet around that post. 1, 2, 3, more yarn, oops, 2, 3, another 2 around this post, and there's number 5, and then I'm going to straight it out, and there is the crocodile stitch. So to make our nest stitch we're going to put a puff right in here, but we'll do that next row. But that's just 5 double crochet around both posts, or 5 down one side and then 5 down the other. Okay, so after your crocodile stitch we're going to skip the next pair of double crochet. We're not going to use those this time. Now we're going to skip to the next 2. So we skip this next set, we're going to work around this set and make another crocodile stitch. So there's no stitches in between, we're just going to straight to this one and make 5 double crochet around the first post. Again, if you turn your work sideways it's a lot easier to do this. 3, 4 and 5 double crochet. I like to yarn over before I turn, I just find it makes it easier to, so there's no pulling of the top loops, and then hook into the next double crochet and just turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So to make these stitches I pretty much fold my work in half to make it easier to get to those posts. Then unfold everything and there's the next crocodile stitch. So skipping that set of double crochet there means that your stitches are nicely placed next to each other. Okay, so you do that across the row. You skip the next set of posts, then make the crocodile stitch around the next set of posts. Okay, so once you've completed all your crocodile stitches, you'll have 3 stitches left. Oops. Pick up my yarn. Right, so when you've got 3 stitches left, you're going to make a single crochet in these last 3. So I'm not including the chain in that, so after your last set of posts that you made your crocodile stitch in, skip the chain, and in the last 3 stitches make a single crochet in each. Okay, and that is row 3. So row 4. I'm actually going to change colours for this row, not because the pattern needs it, but just so it makes it easier for me to show you how where the stitches go. Because there are times where we're going to need to work into 2 rows at the same time, and it just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so row 4, turn, chain 1 and make a double crochet turning chain in the first stitch. Just sort my yarn out, put that down, right. So a double crochet turning chain in the first stitch. So you could change colours in this row, it's entirely optional, but it's not necessary. Okay, so in the next 2 stitches we're going to make a half double crochet. 1 and 2. So you can see we've got this kind of folded bit here, and that's where your crocodile stitch is. Okay. And that's the row with the half double crochet, with the double crochet posts, so they kind of feel like they're overlapping a bit. You get this strange kind of transition between the two. Anyway, after your half double crochet, chain 1. And now we're going to make the puff that goes into the middle of this crocodile stitch. Now to make the puff, you're going to be working into the same stitch that those 2 double crochet posts are made into. So you're working into row 1. So we're on row 4, but we're working into a stitch in row 1. Right down there. Okay, that's where the 2 double crochet posts that you made your crocodile stitch are made into. Okay, so to make your puff, it's a really thick puff, and this is why the stitch is a yarn eater. We're going to yarn over 7 times, so we're going to have 15 loops on our hook. So yarn over, go into that stitch, make sure your hook comes through the bottom of that crocodile stitch, so you want to come through underneath there and through this middle bit here. So right at the bottom between your 2 sets of double crochet stitches around the post. So grab your yarn through that stitch and pull up a loop. You need to make sure you pull it up so it's as high as the other stitches you made, which makes it quite a long stitch. Yarn over, back into the same stitch and pull up a loop. Do that 7 times, so there are 15 loops on your hook. And I've completely lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, one more. Okay, so it's a very, very thick puff. Yarn over, pull through all 15 loops. So if I just turn that around quickly, that is how it should look. Right through the centre of that crocodile stitch. So once you finish your puff, you're going to chain 2. Okay, so next we're going to be working into the unused 2 double crochet here. And into here we need to make 2 more double crochet so we can set up our next set of nest stitches. So put your hook through the centre and make sure you push it underneath your 2 crocodile stitches. Okay, if you push it up too high, you're going to come up here and then you're going to be working above those 2 crocodiles. You don't want that. Underneath that row and make 2 double crochet. If I turn round, I've caught in the middle of that crocodile stitch row, and that just means that it gets secured, so everything gets held in place. So you've got to work through both rows. Okay, so turning back around, after your 2 double crochet, chain 2. Okay, so that's the repeat for your row. Puff stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then repeat. So now we're going to make another puff stitch. So working into the same stitch those double crochet made, you're working 2 rows below, feels like more, you're making a puff. So yarn over, insert your hook into that space, pull up a loop 7 times so that there are 15 loops on your hook. Do need a lot of yarn for this stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, one more, 15. Yarn over, pull through all 15 loops, chain 2. Okay. After your chain 2, work into those unused posts that you got in between your scales and make 2 double crochet, but make sure, oops, that's a single crochet, but make sure you're going through the 2 rows so that you're catching your scale row as well. So we are working through 2 different rows of stitches here. Okay. So we are working into rows 2 and 3. So the posts are in row 2, your scales are in row 3, and we're effectively working through both rows. Okay, chain 2, and then I'm going to make the final puff for this row. So you'll have a puff in every single crocodile stitch. Into the bottom, make sure you come through. As you can see where there's a stitch there, make sure you're in the bottom of that and make your nice big puffs. You want 15 loops on your hook. 4, 5, 6 and 7. Make sure I got it right this time. No, don't go. There we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yarn over, pull through all 15 loops. Ooh. And then chain 2. So that's coming to the end. I've got 3 stitches left here. Okay, so we're not counting the crocodile stitch, just these 3 here, and going to, hang on, let me get my bearings straight. We're going to make a half double crochet in each of the last 3 stitches. There we go. And turn. So that should be your row 4. Puffs and double crochets, and they should all be sitting like that. Okay, row 5. We're going to do more crocodile stitches, but this time they're going to sit in between the ones we did before. So they should be sitting in between here, and we're going to be working in these double crochet posts. Okay, so we turn and we chain 1. I'm going to make a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So single crochet in the first stitch, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. I'm just going to move my yarns out of the way so they don't get tangled. Okay, so we're obviously starting with a puff stitch here, so we need to get past this. So we're going to chain 2, and that will stretch us over to our crocodile stitch here. So in this crocodile stitch here we at least chained 1, this one we chained 2, and that is enough, because don't forget your crocodile stitch is going to come out here. So we don't need that much extra to account for the distance. And around these posts make 5 double crochet on each side, around each post, so 10 in total for each crocodile stitch. So 3, 4 and 5, and I yarn over before I turn and go to the other side for the other post. Always easier if you turn your work and sort of fold it in half to gives you better access. 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so you see how that now sits between the stitches. And as before, we go straight to the next set of posts. So skip the puff, straight to the next set of posts and make another crocodile stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down that post. I'm going to turn round to get to my other post and make another 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, So once you've finished your last crocodile stitch of the row, you'll next have a puff and then the chain space and these last 3 stitches. So after the crocodile stitch I'm going to chain 2, skip the puff, skip the chain space and make a single crochet in each of the last 3 stitches of the row. 2 and 3. Okay, so that's row 5. So row 6, we're going to turn, chain 1 and make a double crochet turning chain. So in this row we're going to be making our puffs into the middle of the crocodile stitches we've just made and make the double crochet that we need for our next row of crocodile stitches. Okay, so make a half double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then we're going to chain 1. Next we're going to make 2 double crochet in the top of our puff. So we're going to be working in this stitch here. Okay, so there's the top of our puff stitch, into there, and also push through to the other side. Okay, so we're going to catch, as we did before, it's just instead of working into double crochet stitches, we're working into the top of a puff and make 2 double crochet and then we chain 2 and next we make our puff. So this is the back of our crocodile stitch, make the puff, it goes through the bottom, so through there and through to the other side here. Okay, so same place as we did before, and again it's yarn over and pull up a loop 7 times, so you have 15 loops on your hook. As you get through more layers it does get a bit more awkward. It's very thick at this point. One more. There is no reason that you have to have 15 loops on your hook. If you want to make your puffs thinner to make life easier, you can. It's just that that nice big thick puff just fills in the middle of that crocodile stitch rather nicely. Okay, so after you've done your puff, chain 2. Skip to the next puff and we make another 2 double crochet in that stitch. Just make sure that you push through so that you're catching the scales as well, so we get things nicely held in place. Chain 2 and then make a puff again. So I just turn this round, you can see how everything fitting in. So this is a very thick stitch, it's going to be very warm, and the reason I was having trouble pushing through with this puff is just because holding it, it's now really thick and it just makes it a bit more awkward to get everything in place. Okay, so next puff stitch, working into the bottom middle of those 2 double crochet posts, which is where your next double crochet post goes. You push through and make sure your hook goes into the bottom of that scale. It's not thick in ways you have to push it through, it's just thick where you're holding it, so it's a bit more difficult to get a grip. And it's much easier to kind of lose where your hook is going. 3. Sorry if I keep going off camera. It's the only way I can keep track of where my hook is going with these puffs. This can be quite an awkward stitch to make at times, but it's also incredibly pretty. This would be a lot easier to make if I was off camera, by the way. It's just because I'm trying to make sure I stay in the frame. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. Yarn over, pull through all loops on your hook. And chain 2. So you keep doing that across the row. So it's puff, chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2 and repeat. And now I've just got to make the last set of 2 double crochet in the top of that puff to finish the row. Okay, then I chain 1 and then make a half double crochet in each of the last 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. There we go. So for the rest of the nest stitch you're repeating rows 3 to 6. Okay, so repeat rows 3 and 6, 3 to 6, as many rows as you need, and then we need to do a finishing row, and that's because we've got these big gaps, so we need to close those off for our finishing row. Okay, so our finishing row. So just to make the stitch placement easier to see, I've changed colours again. So you're going to turn and chain 1. I'm going to make a single crochet in the first stitch. I'm going to take this stitch marker away because I don't need it now. Right. Then we're going to make a single crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. And 2. Okay, so now we're going to make a double crochet around the chain, but we're also going to go into this stitch 2 rows below. So you've got the chain here, push that down, got the chain here, you're going to work around that as well. And we're going to make a double crochet. Okay, so you're working around 2 rows. Then we're going to make a single crochet into the space between the 2 double crochet posts. Then we make 2 double crochet around this, and the chain 2, which is probably sitting behind, so it's there behind your crocodile stitch, we need to work into that, but not the actual crocodile stitch, and you're going to make 2 double crochet around that. Okay, and you can see how we're starting to fill in these gaps. Make a single crochet into the top of the puff, 2 double crochet around both this chain and the one sitting behind your crocodile stitch down there, so you can see how my hook is disappearing behind, and make 2 double crochet around that. Make a single crochet in between the 2 double crochet. Okay, and you keep doing that all the way across the row. Pick up that chain behind your scale, kind of 2 rows below. So keeping track of which row you're working into is a bit of a mission. And just repeat that across the row. Single crochet between the puffs, and a 2 double crochet behind these scales, single crochet into the top of, so into the middle of the 2 double crochet, and then once you've worked into your last set of posts, make a 1 double crochet into the chain. Okay, so around both the top chain and that bottom chain, And then to finish the row, you're going to make a single crochet in each of the last 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. And that is your finishing row. So everything is nicely held in place, so your stitches will stay nice and upright. Look on the other side, it's all now held, nothing's going to budge. So if you don't want this to be overly visible, I would use the same colour as you did in your last row of puff stitches, but that's just to show you where the stitch placement is. And that is the finishing row of the nest stitch. To complete your nest piece, you're going to be repeating rows 3 to 6 until you have 20 rows. Then row 21, you're going to make that finishing row. After you finish row 21, then it's time to join this piece, the rest of your FrankenScrap. And this is the final piece of the blanket. So to see where this piece fits, along with the full joining instructions, click the link beneath this video. It'll take you to the blog post where you'll find all the information you need. And don't forget, if you need any help, have any questions, or just want to join in the chat with your fellow FrankenScrappers, then come and join the Facebook group. The link is beneath this video. So this is the last piece of the FrankenScrap, but we still need to add our border. So I'll be back next week for our final week and show you the border we're adding. Bye for now.